tonight. So thank you.
And my name is David Diana. I own a marketing business with my wife, and my son is here at 7th grade. And I have been on the board since the new year. And it's good to be here. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Shirley Henson. Thank you all for being here tonight. We'll have an opportunity to communicate, hopefully. I know it's hard to hear. I'll try to project a little more. I work at the College of Charleston. I'm Director of Government Relations. And some experience that I bring to the board is I served on the Berkeley County School Board for 8 years, and I was elected to the South Carolina House of Representatives for 12 years. In addition to that, the governor, 2 governors have appointed me to serve on committees at various times. I served on the board here over a year ago for a year, so that would have been 2014. So I went off the board, and then I'm just new on the board again in November. I believe we took our spaces here in November. So I'm delighted to be back to help push this wonderful school forward, doing whatever we can as a board to make it a very good learning environment for all of the students at PSA. Thank you.
I'm Ken Ryan, and my son Jeffrey is a senior. He's in Embry Middle in Arizona. Thank you, Kelly. Scholarship. We moved to Charleston in 2011. It was a dart thrown from Naples, Italy. It landed on Charleston. We thought that'd be a great place to retire after 30 years in the United States military. While in the military, I flew helicopters. I like to think I trained those SEALs that help us out so much. We did combat search and rescue. There was a lot of great stuff that I'm very proud of. But the more fun was that in every tour that I had the opportunity, I coached basketball, mostly with my kids. But whenever we didn't have a league, we started one. And then I brought that skill to PSA. So I am PSA's first basketball coach. And best, right? Okay. And after we professionalized that, I moved on to interim athletic director to help Dr. Gott through a period of time when we were debating zone versus man-to-man. I went zone, he went man-to-man. He fired me. I took over the booster club. Kathy Lemon, thank you very much. Where are you? There you are. And out of the booster club, I said to myself, I need to do more. So I submitted a resume for the board to run in October. I got elected, thank you very much. In that resume, I put down that what I can bring to the table here is in my master's degree, I studied national security in the education industry. What does it mean to have an education industry throughout the country? What does it mean to our national security, et cetera, et cetera? We got an A on the paper. It was a group project. But when I was looking at serving on the board, what I wanted to kind of learn is at the micro level, how can we do the little things that need to migrate up to the big things that we all need. So I appreciate that. I will bring this kind of non-educator strategic perspective. I will learn the ropes as a parent, but I model as my cue the performance, the character, and the drive that my basketball players always gave me. And that's the whole team, the cheerleaders and everybody. Those are the people I think of when I serve. And don't you doubt that I think hard about these things, okay? And I take every vote seriously. And don't you doubt that I won't talk to you if you have a reasonable approach, a disagreement. We can talk professionally. I plan to be more present for that. I live out in Mount Pleasant, but I come here a lot. And I plan to plant myself at a table and talk to you at any moment that you want to understand who I am, where I come from, and where it's going, okay? All right? I made a deal with my players always. We walk in, we give it best effort, we walk out as a team. Am I right? Did we do it? All right? We're going to do it here too, right? All right. I want to thank my special guest was Terrell Palmer. He is Tim Gott's next basketball coach next year.
How's everybody doing? Great. Everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Andy Taylor. I may have met a few of you over email the past couple of days, so I've been on the board since November, started in November. I've been in the Air Force for 32 years this month. That's all I've ever done. I started off as a young enlisted firefighter. I got my degree while I was on active duty, got commissioned through officer training school as a personnel force support officer. Used to be just personnel, but they transformed it in force support, so now we do everything from literally cradle to grave. We take care of the child development centers on the base, all the way to mortuary, the very end of life. Everything in between, civil engineering, communications, contracting, security forces, force support, like I mentioned, and LRS, logistics readiness and supply and transportation. So everything that runs a base is what we do. I'm the deputy commander for the mission support group. I don't have any children in PSA. I got two grown boys, both college graduates. One went to NC State, one went to Valdosta State. While they were growing up, I was heavily into their youth programs, and both of them are Eagle Scouts. Did the Boy Scout thing with them, did the youth sports with them. Really have a passion for children and also education. I'm also a part-time adjunct instructor with the college. Been doing that since 1999. The opportunity came for me to serve on this board. It's been a short time frame so far, but I've enjoyed it. I realize that there's some concerns, and I'm willing to do my part to hear you guys out and do what I can to bring what I can for what was supposed to be a 2-year term. May or may not be. That's up to everybody else. I serve at the pleasure of you guys. So I just sincerely wanted to let you guys know that I take this role seriously, just as Ken stated. I don't rubber stamp anything. I read through what we get, and I have a genuine concern for students in this school. Okay.
Well, I'm just a little guy. I've been around about 3-4 years in the school here. I love all the kids. The kids are my life. I spent 25 years, a little over 25 years in the Navy as Ken in aviation, flying. A little different airplane than Ken. But it's ironical because Ken left Naples and I left Naples, so we have a lot in common there. But bottom line is, after that, I went into industry, and then I said, I've had enough of this, and I started my own company because I realized that if you complain with the guy in the mirror. So I learned how to do that early on. I sold my company after 10 years and went back into industry. My life is kids. I raise money for kids programs. I'm chairman of the board for Low Country STEM Collaborative. I'm on the board for this August group. I also run 2 robotics programs for the state, K through 12, VEX, which we have here. And by the way, one of our students just got a $4,000 scholarship from the VEX. I also am involved with First Robotics, and I run the program there. Things I do all over the state, all for the kids. Kids are my life. And this whole school is my family. And that's the way I look at life. It's a very simple process. We have to make leaders for tomorrow, and that's what I do in life, is try to take your kids and mold them, mentor them, and let them excel and become leaders of tomorrow. Enough.
You didn't say your name.
Oh, I'm Jack Moore, by the way. You old man, Penny. I thought everybody knew me.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to give a shout out to the course who got a superior rating. I've been on this board since its inception. I'm a seasoned educator. I moved here from the state of Georgia. Did a lot of work at the University of Georgia with 25 years of experience in the trenches, in the classroom. I served on the consortium board. I moved here and decided I didn't really want to stop, so I took 2 years and taught at the academic magnet high school. After 2 years of teaching there, I moved downtown to be the director of the CEL program for 6 years. When I took that position, we had 2,000 identified gifted and talented children in that program. When I left the position, we had 6,000 children in that program. We did that because we moved to multiple criteria identification. Currently, I'm helping your 4 arts teacher seek a distinguished art grant for $18,000 from the state. This year, they gave it to 60 schools. And next year, we're hoping, if we get the work done, that we will be a recipient of $18,000 for them to spend. Someone asked me today, what was the greatest joy of my career? And I told them it was helping to create this school. Because gifted children need a special environment in which to learn. I get really emotional when I talk about that. So you'll have to forgive me. But I really have my heart in this job. If you know, I write the minutes, and I write them so you feel as though you've been here. And I believe in constructive conflict. Because if you have constructive conflict, you will be a better thinker, you will be a better problem solver, you will be more creative. From chaos can come a lot of creativity. I studied under Dr. Paul Torrance at the University of Georgia. He created the only test that has ever existed to measure creativity in children. And he taught me to be a creative problem solver. So I know if we listen and respect each other, we will understand. And if we understand, we will begin to care. And if we care, we will build empathy. And so from that, I hope this movement that is going about, it will make us stronger, better, and a good school.
What's your name, please?
Yeah.
Sorry for the new people.
It's contagious.
Hi everyone, I'm Marilyn Shafter. I'm the Chief Nursing Officer and Administrator for Clinical Services at MUSC. I've been there for 21 years. I've been a nurse for 43 years. And I'm known for my brevity, and the gift that I bring to this board is I'm a listener. And I'm here to listen to all of you tonight.
Hello everybody, my name is Frank Budd. I'm a psychologist by training. I graduated from Arizona State, went to University of Missouri. I love education. It's amazing to be around young people who can achieve so much at such a young age. That's the exciting part of it. This is my second term on the board. I'm retired Air Force, retired as Colonel in 2010. I worked at the College of Charleston. I'm the director of the Counseling Center for the Students, Depression, Anxiety, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm glad to be here tonight. Thank you very much.
My name is
I'm Johnny Cash.
and I am the luckiest man on the planet to be a part of this school. It has been an interesting journey to say the least, but I'm convinced more and more every day this is one of the most amazing schools in the United States, maybe in the planet. We are a family. I don't know about your all's family, but it's like my family and this wedding I just finished. There were some interesting moments. But when it was all said and done, it was a great thing. And just real quick, I have 31 years experience being a little bit of everything in school. Evidently I can't keep a job because I keep every 2 or 3 years. I don't know why, but I grow and I want to become a better educator. But I find here that it's everything that I've been as a teacher, as a counselor, as a principal, as a consultant for the Department of Education in Kentucky. This allows me to be what I want to be, and I can't thank you all enough. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Stacy Lindberg, and I'm chairman of the board here. I'm a PSA parent. From my daughter Rachel was in the first graduating class, and my daughter Nicole went here several years. And we were part of the original group that started. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't say that. Part of the original group that started the school, that came together. I was recently at the Kennedy Space Center, and I saw a sign that really reminded me of PSA. Our student spaceflight experiment program just recently went down to the launch of the Kennedy Space Center, the SpaceX rocket that just went up. You probably saw it on TV and the news. And in the Space Center, there's a sign in front of the Atlantis, and it has a picture of someone who worked there, and it said, "We're a family of ordinary people who teamed up and did something extraordinary." And that's what I think of when I think of PSA. We're a family of people that are teachers and parents and board members and community people. You'd probably be surprised at how many community people that you don't ever see at the school that contributed. And our legislators and our state senator has helped us. And all these people have come together to build PSA. And what has been the pillars of success of a successful organization have been here at PSA. First is vision. We had a vision that we wanted to have a school where kids could have a gifted education and have the academic rigor that these kids need to be able to shine and reach their potential. That was the push for all the things that we started when we started in a little old building on the old Navy Yard with not a lot of money the first year. Next to that pillar is execution. Everybody came together to work and do whatever it needed to be, whether it was us cleaning out the front yard of the school, bringing in supplies and helping with the classrooms and cleaning anything that needed to be done, and supporting the teachers and coming together to all contribute for execution. And then we had great teachers right from the start. So everyone, staff, administration, parents, and the community all came together to execute PSA. And they all did it with passion. We all have a passion for this school and a love for the students and a passion for education for everyone to do well. And yesterday we were talking about this. I met with the attorney for our district, which is the South Carolina Public Charter School District, and our superintendent, and with the PSA attorney and some board members, and we were talking about what's going on at PSA now. And they shared with us that it is not unusual that a situation like we're dealing with here at PSA happens in schools across the country. It's happened across our state, and it's a culture issue that we need to address and come together as that family that built this wonderful school and come together to address it. And I'm here to stand up as my own self that want to make sure that this school continues to be a great school and address this issue together. And I'm willing to do anything in my part and work hard, just as I've always had for this school, and for the love and care for these children that means so much to me. Not only my own children, but every child that's ever gone here and will go here. And I know it's hard when you see a lot of negative comments and information out in the community, and that your children see it, and it is bothersome and worrisome. I can tell you personally, my child was contacted, and people told her, "Have you seen what they've said about your mother on Facebook?" You know, all of us can share and understand that that's not the culture we want for our school. And I think it starts with yourself, of everything that you can do to make sure that we address this turning point in the school, to do what's great for all of us, and to address this challenge. And the superintendent's staff said that what they have seen be the most effective in these situations is that everyone comes to the table to work together and look at what they can do better. And I'm suggesting that we take their advice of what has worked, and that we have a board consultant that comes together and looks at all the ways that we're doing things now to see how we can do things better, how we can work well with administration and families, and anything that we can improve ourselves. And I'm willing to do anything that I can improve on myself and put myself first out there. So that's, and no one's perfect, no one does everything right, and I'm no different than anyone else. But I can tell you I have a passion for this school, I have a passion for all the families here and for gifted education, and will do everything on my part to contribute to that improvement in the school, improvement in this culture, and so we can take the school to the next level. And also, I would like to address the initial comments, some of the issues that are being discussed. There was comments that at this board meeting tonight, because we had a personnel issue put on the agenda, that it was to fire Dr. Gott. We're not permitted to talk about personnel issues, but I can tell you unequivocally, there was no plans to fire Dr. Gott. There's no movement from the board to fire Dr. Gott. I don't have a personal as Stacy Lindbergh to get rid of Dr. Gott. And that is the responsibility of the board, is to oversee the school and the policies and procedures and the planning and the strategic planning and the budget and the accountability for the entire school, and to plan and oversee and make sure that all the children here are getting the best education possible, and to work collaboratively with everyone. And I think that the opportunity and the recommendation of the district of what has been successful in these situations, I personally will recommend to the board. It'll be the board's decision to decide about that, but there's some people that have been very successful at that, and I think it's a turning point to do that here at the school. Also, I think there's been some questions about board elections and the board chair and the board officer elections. And we will be having board elections. The boards will be setting a date shortly, probably in the next month or two. There will be the board to set that date. And we have been working on developing that process, and we should be doing that in the next month or two. So we will give you an exact date of when to expect those elections. I think there's also been some misinformation about the difference between a board chair and board members. A board chair does not have a vote on their own. They don't decide everything for the school. A board votes, and the majority makes decisions. A board chair doesn't make those decisions by themselves, not on this board or any board. We work collaboratively as a group. And I think it's important to know some of the information has been incorrect and inaccurate that's out there, and I'm always open to talk to any of you about all those issues. And I look forward to working together with everyone here, all the children, all the families. We want what's best for the families, and best for the kids' education, and that's what's important. And as we read our student read the mission statement, that's what's always in my heart, that's what's in my mind, that's what's always driven me since the first days of starting the school on a piece of paper and just a dream, and all through the years has been that mission for our students, for our kids and their education. And I'd like to open it up to any board members who would like to say something. David?
You know, I've had, being here such a short, I guess, period of time, it seems like it's gone so fast. It's been an interesting experience, I can tell you, in terms of, I think, kind of what's going on and what that means for my child and my concern for.
David, can you speak up?
I think there's a microphone.
There's a microphone? Oh, great, I get to emotional about this. A lot of just some of the conversations and sort of how they snowballed. And I guess I understand the psychology of it. We're talking about your kid, you know, being your God. And I know everybody that I've worked with here on the board and the parents that I've gotten to talk to, and their intentions are all well and good. But I started to kind of question a little bit about the safety of my child because of just sort of the way that it's snowballed and how it's snowballed and how information gets communicated and how facts get stretched into things that are just not true. Just to give you an example, when I came on the board, maybe a few weeks prior to that, you know, it was a blank slate. I love PSA. My child, my son loves it here. And I was excited to kind of get on board and see what I can do to add value from a marketing perspective, some things that these people were talking about doing as we involved. And then there was a blank slate, and then probably a few weeks prior to getting in there was when, you know, I received a letter that talked about this rift between the chair and Dr. Gott. And, you know, that's what kind of had absolutely no idea that there was anything going on. And, you know, the irony of it is this movement that Stacy has had to mention, and I know this is not the main issue on the table from the letters I've received, but that there was forming a movement to fire Dr. Gott. Never in any experience that I've had here was that ever discussed, nor did I have any intentions of it. So it was confusing to know that at that point now it was not us firing Dr. Gott, but there was all of a sudden this risk that Dr. Gott may not want to be here anymore. And so naturally, my reaction was, well, I'd love to hear from Dr. Gott, because that letter was not his letter, you know. And so, can we hear what he has to say? And there's some things that we can do to address it. We certainly wouldn't want to lose him. And it took a while to have that conversation, but we did have it. And I felt like things were aired out and decisions were made, and it sounded like there was sort of a foundation for moving forward, which I was excited by, which was kind of surprising that it kind of got to this point. Then there's been accusations around bullying and dictatorship and things like that that really had me flabbergasted. I was trying to get my head around it because there has been at some level some bullying. There has been. But it hasn't been, in my experience, from the chairperson. And it's been consistent. It's been calculated. And more importantly, more upsetting to me is it's been this single-mindedness around stretching the truth to paint a picture of somebody to where we get to this point that I see posts on Facebook that are referencing our chairperson in a light that I just cannot imagine.
You haven't been around long enough to know.
No.
You haven't been on the
I
board long
understand
enough or involved with the school enough to know what kind of characteristics
I hear you. I hear you. And honestly, I speak to this because I just want to give you perspective from a new parent. I know that I don't know all the information. I don't speak for the board. This is just my experiences.
They don't make projections that what's been said is the truth. Because I've known her, and I've known what she's done to my wife, and I know how she's treated my wife, and she's treated my wife with so much disrespect. Tim Gott also knows it. This board, if you've been around, also knows it. And if you don't tell the truth and have her rotate off as the board chair, if you really want to go forward, and if you really want to, if this board, if you board members really mean what you say, if you really have the grit inside you and mean what you say, and want the best for this school, then you will have her, and hire a consultant. That's a great move. I've been involved as a superintendent with boards before and as a school principal. Let me tell you what, the 2 years I saw my wife go through the hell that this lady right here put her through, and you people know about it who were on the board. Stacy, if you want the best for the school, you need to rotate off, let an interim chairperson step in, and then let the consultant do their
I see on the website, we talk about inquiry-based learning and problem solving and decision making and things like that. And this is the way we resolve our issues? This is a gifted and talented school?
No. Hey, come on, let's do this in a respectful manner. I know it's very emotional, everyone.
But can we have the microphone? Like, can we talk?
Wait, we don't have our...
asked to speak, I figured I'd get my opinion from the parents. Obviously, I won't be able to get all in. I'm gonna leave it to somebody else to.
Guys, my name is Jack Moore, as you probably did interview before. But stability is always a wonderful thing. And I do believe in consensus. And in any organization, there's always opinions opposing each other. But at the end of the day, we have to come together civilly and make a consensus decision. So I would ask each of you to remember that as we go forward. And I'll tell you this as well. You didn't see my name on the letter, nor a couple of other board members. It wasn't that I objected to the letter going out. I just objected to how it went out, and I objected to the fact of that. I'm not objecting going forward with you, and I think parents need to have a part in what we do. If parents don't have a part, then you can't do anything at the end of the day. So, Victoria, you want this?
Yeah, I'm an educator, so I have a loud mouth. So that's fine. I'll hold the mic, but again, listen. I think we all need to speak in a respectful tone. You saw me get up and send my daughter out. I do not want her sitting here listening to cursing, or listening to badgering, or watching this. I mean, I can't go for that. I told you from the get-go, I'm an advocate for students, and the fact that we're doing this in front of our students, our children who's sitting here watching this, I'm flabbergasted. I don't want my daughter sitting here watching that. Now you can speak your mind, you can say what you will, but I think we need to watch our tone in front of the students. If I stood up in my classroom and said something like that, I wouldn't have a job. And yes, sir, you can voice your opinion, that's fine. But what I'm telling you from my perspective, that we need to use a respectful tone. It doesn't matter, sir. We need to use a respectful tone. I'm not yelling at you, no one's yelling at you, but you're yelling at us, and that does not solve anything. We're all here for the same purpose. I think everybody's in here because we're passionate about PSA. We love PSA. We love Dr. Gott. We want change. The only way for change to happen is to speak in a tone that's respectful, so everybody can hear and everybody can listen, and not just throw it at us. That's not going to solve anything. That's all I'm going to say.
I think the board really came here tonight to listen to you. We want to give you an opportunity. So, if you want to speak, and Stacey, I'm sorry I'm taking over this, but somebody's got to get it to the point where we can hear from our hearers. So I would just say, if you will, we're going to listen. We're here to listen to you. But please be respectful. We will sit here, for as long as we need to. But if you will, if you hold your comments and hold your applause, we can get through this much faster. So thank you very much.
Gosh. Sorry. Mr. Marion, I want to apologize, first of all. What you said about your son, I hate that you ever felt that for your child at school. I really do. That must have been a terrible feeling. I'm sorry. And I also want to apologize, although it didn't come from me, if any of you received anything over the top this week. I know it's been a hard week. That shouldn't be the way. You're all right. That shouldn't be the way. However, what we've heard, there is some truth to it. There is some truth to what's circulating. There is. And it's a little bit insulting to hear you kind of say that it's not. It feels bad, doesn't that? That feels bad to me. It felt bad. I have a petition to present to you signed by approximately 320 people We want to know that he'll be left to the daily operations of the school as intended by our charter. We require that the board create functioning committees involving board members, parents, and faculty. I'm so happy that you all are talking about that today. We're asking for true, meaningful collaboration, though, not question and answer sessions. We want to be involved. We require that the PSA charter and bylaws are updated and include clear governance, structures, policies, and procedures. We want to know that a single individual or small group can't control the direction of these policies or the school. You know, all these rumors, but if we had the policies in place, the rumors couldn't exist, right? If the charter were changed. We're asking for a long overdue change in board leadership and refinements to the PSA charter necessary to ensure the health of our school going forward. And we like the board, which you've already done today, at least I think the majority of you did, several of you did. We want you to state and demonstrate your commitment and support to Dr. Gott. It's really cool. And that's all. Thank you. Thank you all for serving. I know that you spend a lot of time on the school and all that you do, and I really appreciate it.
Good evening. For those who don't know, my name is Dave Esslinger. I'm the president of the PSA Parent and Community Association. So first I'd like to say thank you to everyone for coming to show your support for the school. I have a son who goes here. I feel just as passionate as you. He's a 10th grader. So he's been here since 6th grade. It's been an amazing experience. I'd also like to thank the board. I know some of you have served a long time. I am so proud of the progress we have made as a community from going from that first little school that I was introduced to when I was invited to speak to the first class. Oh, this is a pretty cool idea. I have a 5th grader. He can go here next year. And got in. So we are now in this marvelous facility. We've made great strides. We have more strides to make. One of the things I wanted to report, usually I report on what PCA has done. I don't know how many know, but at our recent auction, we, the community, raised $10,000 plus to support the activities through the PCA. So give yourself a hand. If you live out there, you missed a heck of a good time. So we'd love to see you there next year. The most important thing tonight, though, is really this issue that we have before us. And PCA is forbidden by our bylaws from actually taking a part in any personnel action or changing curriculum or anything like that. I'm not here to advocate for any of that. What we are challenged or chartered to do is to represent this families. And I have been contacted, as I'm sure many of you, with people who have been here a long time, are very passionate about what's going on in the school and very concerned about their inability to understand what's going on and their apparent inability to make any influence on that. And so I guess what I would ask for you, the board, to consider tonight is as we go forward, what it really seems that we need is better transparency in the actions, the reasoning behind those actions, and the manner in which decisions are being made. And as was put forth in some aspects in the letter that was said, communication is a huge aspect of that, as we just were talking about earlier. But communication is a two-way process. And I'm so thankful that you stood up and gave members of the audience a chance to ask and speak, because I'm trying to stay neutral here, but I felt I was being spoken to, not listened to. There was no communication. I don't think that was intentional, but it was part of the process that's going on. And I think we need to fundamentally change that process, because it's indicative of what seems to have been occurring. So I'd like a very broadly inclusive process to come out of this, where all of us feel we can make meaningful impacts on the direction of the school, which is to help direction, because that is your job. And I hope we can do that in a much faster pace than in a month or two we can set a date for something. So I think that sort of responsiveness will go a tremendous way to alleviating the fears that I heard, because they by and large were, we don't know what's going on. I've received communication from the board, and the letter was not well received. Probably the best word that was used most polite was patronizing. And that's not the sense of communication we need. We built this as a community. It's a family. Why are we passionate about it? Because it is a family, right? I think that's why we're all here and why people care so much. So some of us have seen many things from way back when. Others are new. Everyone cares about their kids and cares about this institution. So please, I know you're serious about your roles. Listen, communicate 2 ways to build that empathy and to move this forward in an amazing way I know it can be. Thank you.
I do want you to know that we are listening. We're here tonight to listen to you. And we're hearing what you're saying. Transparency, you want more, but I think the board has felt that it's been transparent. But if we can do more, we're going to do more. And I believe that the reason the board chair, and I'm speaking for her, and I don't have any right to do this right now, because Stacy and I don't always agree. You know, she'll tell you, she'll be the first one to tell you, no, Stacy, I don't agree with that. So I don't think anybody on this board agrees lockstep with the board chair. We're all independent. We all come from different places in life. We are in different places in life, and we've got different backgrounds. So we are our own people. And I think the common thread that runs through this board, though, is that we care about the school and we care about the students. And of course we care about the parents. Shared governance is difficult. It's hard. So we're learning together. This board's going to work with you. I can promise you that. We're going to work with you. She can't tell you when there's going to be a date set for an election because she's one board member. This board has to make that decision. I will tell you, if we get to our board meeting tonight, I think that'll be a discussion. I think we'll set it. I think, and I'm just going to throw this out, but the board's got to make that decision. She can't make that by herself. So we do need to set a date. We hear you. We are listening.
Thank you, Shirley. For those of you who don't know, my name is Whitney Asmussen. I'm a board member. I have a fair statement. The first thing I want to address is something that you said, Shirley, and that is that the bylaws dictate the election. The election should have happened this past November. In Section 5 of the bylaws, we already have a procedure for it. It's been done before. It should have been done in November. So that being said, we're ready to see that happen. So first, I would like to thank you all for your excellent credentials. All of you bring to the board of directors. Historically, I am known for pushing and wanting to support what we do at the Academic Excellence Committee and following the mission with what the research says is best practice. So let's look at what the research says. The world of executives is filled with founding chief executives whose domination, petulance, stubbornness, short-sightedness, and other flaws are routinely overlooked because, well, most of the time they're right. That doesn't make their exasperating style and puzzling choices defensible. Again, not my words, the research. When a single individual or a small group of individuals bring an organization through tough times, such as a startup, these situations require a strong, passionate personality. Our chairperson was that. someone who makes fast decisions and motivate people to action. Once those rough times are over, however, the decision-making needs of the organizations change, requiring mechanisms for shared responsibility and authority. It is when those decision-making mechanisms don't change, regardless of growth, and changes on the program side, the founder syndrome becomes an issue. We see this most frequently with organizations that have grown from mom and pop operation to the community powerhouse that PSA is. While decisions are still being made, as if the founders are gathered around someone's living room, desperately trying to hold things together. The main symptom of founder syndrome is that decisions are not made collectively. Most decisions are simply made by the founder. All other parties merely rubber stamp what the founder suggests. Boards of these organizations usually don't govern, but instead approve what the founder suggests. Planning isn't done collectively but by the founder, and plans or ideas that do not come from the founder usually don't go far. In other words, regardless of the size of the organization, everyone who is not the founder is relegated to the role of support. Board members are typically selected by the founder and are often friends and colleagues of the founder. Board members may be unqualified, underqualified, underinformed, and intimidated, and will typically be unable to answer basic questions without checking first with the founder. They may avoid questions entirely. In 2009, this is my own personal testimony, I found out I had a gifted child. I read more about gifted education while on the planning committee and the board in the first 2 years than I did during both of my graduate degrees. I was no expert, but I wanted the administrators, the teachers, and the parents to see through my eyes what I had learned and to see through the eyes of the gifted consultants that I had engaged. At this point, Stacy and I were friends. We talked on the phone 5 times a day or more. We took trips to Columbia together to lobby our legislators. We dined together. We even vacationed together. I could reasonably be convinced of anything in the name of the mission of the school. I was fully invested in that mission. I gave almost $8,000 out of my own pocket to ensure teachers received paychecks. This was a gift, not a loan to be repaid. I think there are those of you on board who may see a reflection of yourself in my testimony. And you perpetuate this dysfunction by allowing the board chair to allow her exasperating style to go unchecked or defending her husband's choices. I hope you will reflect on this research and my testimony and ask yourself honestly, are you serving the mission or are you serving the individual? Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
Hi, my name is Emily Sticky, and I'm a parent here. I had no intention of speaking, but I'm very frustrated at what feels like a very patronizing situation and untruths that are going on. I was on the planning committee when Stacy first started school, so I've been in since the beginning, and I've seen a lot of stuff happen. And as I've said to Stacy, I am so grateful to Stacy for creating this school. I mean, there's nothing in my life I just am so grateful that I can send my kids to this marvelous place every day, and I'm exceedingly grateful for that, and to Stacy for having this vision and pulling it off. I mean, it's amazing. But I've also seen a lot of problems through the years with went through 3 principals the first year. The next principal, I don't even remember his name, he's so nondescript. The school was so rocky. I mean, some of the people that I dealt with, the staff, it was very, very rocky. And Marty Hale came in, and she stabilized the school, and she did a 180. I mean, she just worked day and night to pull this off, as did Marlene Baber and Melissa McCants, and all these people sacrificed their health, their stress. I mean, unbelievable sacrifices these people made for my children, sacrifices that I probably wouldn't have done for theirs. I am so grateful. And I mean, there was this coup at the end of the second year. I mean, it's hard to even fathom the instability that was going on. Unfortunately, these people, especially Marty Hill, instead of being appreciated for what she gave, she was undermined and treated badly, and I saw it with my own eyes. In one particular board meeting, she made a very good creative suggestion, and Stacy, you cut her off by her knees. It was frankly disturbing and appalling, the unprofessionalism and the nastiness. And I know that this was not a one-time thing, this was the general way that many people were treated. I've seen teachers that my children adore treated in similar ways and just intimidated, and that's the truth, and that's why I'm standing here. And as unpleasant as it is, and as ugly as it is, it needs to be said, because that is what's going on.
Hi, I'm Delaney Carriger. I'm a senior at PSA. I want to make a comment. I feel like the board is treating some of the students like we don't understand what's happening. We know what's happening. We can see it. We have eyes. We're gifted. We get it. I think that the board could use a little more student involvement and a little more student input, because I know that I'm graduating, so I'm not going to be here, but I know a lot of the kids over there are smart and have smart things to say and things that could really benefit the board. And so I think that if you just give us a chance, we could really be helpful. I'd also like to say that it seems like we're favoring some of the principals, ex-principals, teachers. That's because we spend every day with them. We trust them, they're our family. I view most of these teachers like I would my parents. And honestly, the only person on the board that I know and I feel like I can trust is Mr. Ken Ryan, because he coached me. And I think if you really want the students' trust and the parents' trust, you have to be more involved. There's no involvement from the board members, and I think that that's kind of harmful. That's all I can say.
Sorry. I'm gonna give this to you.
Well said, thank you very much. Anyone else like to speak? Okay, we got a board member that's gonna speak. Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay, I want to say one thing on my heart. I support Dr. Bob, 100%. I've only known him for a few months. He's always been a stand-up guy with me. He's been very honest, forthright. We worked one issue together, military set aside, and he was very forthcoming with all the information. And I've never heard in the past 4 months, gentlemen in the middle, you're right. We've got limited experience on the board. But in the 4 or 5 months, I've never heard anybody on the board say anything bad about him, including Stacy. I'm a man of character, integrity, and honesty, and I have to tell you, some of the emails that I got were just disturbing because they were so broad brushed. You're lacking integrity, you're lacking your shameful behavior over the past 10 months. The 4 or 5 board meetings I was in have always been very professional. There's been some very contentious and straightforward and direct conversations, don't get me wrong. But there was never any shameful, I wouldn't be a part of anything shameful or disgusting or bad, okay? So if I knew of a hidden agenda to get rid of this man, I wouldn't even be a part of this board. I don't like hidden agendas, okay? So I cannot speak for anything before November 2015. That is true. That's the correct statement. But I have to tell you, the emails were very long, and if I could go back and read them again, but there was hardly any evidence. There were just a couple of things. Complaints about elections, complaints about thinking that Dr. Gott was going to get fired. But nothing was laid out to show me any evidence of that. So I just have to take it as face value. I understand it's an emotional topic. That's why I'm not mad at any of the parents that email me. I'm not mad. I understand it's emotional. But when your children are involved, it's going to get emotional. I've been there, done that. But to wrap this up, I just want to say, Dr. Gott, I support you. I can't speak for the entire board, but I've never heard anybody say anything bad about you. Even the military officers that I work with that have met you say great things about you. I appreciate what you do here at this school.
I think everybody appreciates your candor, but what happened before that date is a matter of record with several people. I think we've asked Stacy several times, does she want to fire Dr. Gott? She's never answered the question. I think that, I think that everybody wants to know tonight, did Stacy ever want to fire Dr. Gott? We're still waiting on an answer. I think that, I've shared with a lot of people that at one point, Stacy had a replacement for Dr. Gott. She's never addressed that. There's a lot of questions that have been asked in the board meeting, never answered. And I think that's what a lot of these people want here tonight, is to understand what Stacy wants, because she's not telling anybody. We sat her down last February, almost a year ago, me and another board member, and said, Stacy, we need to think about a transition from you coming off the chair. You've been on the chair for, I don't know how many years now, right off the top of my head.
There you go.
Stacy's done a wonderful job at the school. A wonderful job at the school.
Yes.
And we needed somebody with her tenacity and her perseverance. She inspired me, and I followed. I think everybody here can say that they were inspired by Stacy. The organization is moving on, and we need somebody different at the leadership position. And part of that is the relationship with Stacy and Dr. Gott is broken. It's broken. They're still having very, very intense discussions in the board meetings. I started videotaping because these people needed to see that. They needed to see it. And I was mocked because of it. Because I came in and was giving everybody the information that they wanted, I was mocked. Tonight, I have been called unhinged. Our CRO is here because of me and what I said. I don't think I said anything that I'm not saying here tonight, but I'm unhinged. I'm not unhinged. I'm passionate. I believe in the mission, and the mission needs an administrator at the school who is an expert in gifted and talented education. We have that man. If we don't do something different, we won't have it for long.
I will also
Dr. Gott, you and I had conversations. There's no conspiracy. I was married to a school principal for 30 years. I know how tough this job is. I know how tough your job is day in and day out. But I also know that it is imperative, it's critical that the principal has a relationship with the board and the board chair so that it is a working relationship. We have to have that for all of you. We have to have that for the students. So.
Hi, my name is Amy Monsky, and I have a son here who is in 10th grade. He's been here since the second semester of 6th grade, so I've been around for a while. One of the words that come to mind right now is gratitude. I have a lot of gratitude for the board members here, for Stacy in particular, for all of the administration and all the teachers, because my child has been given something that he would never have had otherwise. And in the process of looking through the bylaws and the charter and the articles of incorporation, the one thing that I saw was on the articles of incorporation there was one person's name, and that's Stacy Limber, and that she really put this forward and it's her baby from the beginning, and I really admire that. As somebody who started, I know how much goes into it, and I really admire what you've done. So I wanted to say that first of all. The question I had, and I hope that you all will answer questions, is I think that everybody's in agreement that the officer elections haven't been held, and that a date will be set for that in a month or two. But I'm kind of curious, and I think that other parents are kind of curious too, why didn't they happen in November?
I came in November, so I cannot answer that. Does someone on the board wish to answer it?
Stacy.
No, I think she's been through enough, guys. Come on. Folks, leadership is a gift. It's a gift that comes from followers. And it's only given if you're worthy. Dr. God is an incredible leader. I take full credit for bringing him in. And Stacy was even more excited than I was when he came. We searched the nation for this man. We wanted someone in gifted education. Newsweek had written him up 2 years in a row as the #1 principal in the nation. Stacy was ecstatic. She was jumping up and down. We were so thrilled we did not know what to do. We had finally found that principal. Marty Hale's husband is sitting right here. He's the guy that was so boisterous about his wife. For the last 4 years, we have had stability. We have had 2 principals. We had Marty for 2 years. She finished the same graduate program I did at the University of Georgia. And she is one of the best principals I've ever seen in action. She made some very tough decisions. She made some very tough decisions. She cleaned up some messes for us. And my heart will always be very grateful. But Dr. God came along. You know, and we were thrilled with that. Why we did not have elections, no one has ever wanted to be chair of this board. No one has ever come forward and said, give me that job. No one has ever said, I'd like to be secretary. You know, we're forgetful folks. November passed and we didn't have the election.
You're supposed to have elections every year. It says so.
Well, we rewrote in 2012 when the state charter went to only 2-year terms. Then we adjusted our bylaws. And somehow or other, the November election did not get in.
That's section 4. The elections is section 5. That was never edited.
5.2.
Correct.
5.2
Right.
says that there would be an election in November.
Right.
An officer election.
Well,
at the annual
If we
meeting.
had a volunteer who really wanted this tough job,
That's not the point.
That's
I
not
know
the
that this is the point, but I'm saying that that's the answer to the question.
What is the answer to this question?
The answer
What do you think of Dr. Gott and Stacy's relationship?
What do I think about it?
Yes.
I'd like to hear from Dr. Gott.
I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to hear from
You
you.
don't want Dr. Gott to speak tonight? What do I think about it? I think that both of them are phenomenal leaders. I've had 120 graduate hours in administration. So I know they're going to see one. He is one and Stacy is one. They've got to learn to work together.
Okay, one more comment.
That won't happen. He'll be gone.
There have been a lot of really good points made this evening, and I wanted to do three things. I mean, first, I want to thank everyone for their service, thank parents for caring and getting engaged in this dialogue, and I agree with the points that out of this chaos can come constructive results. But I want to observe that I don't think it's complete to say that this is, is there or isn't there this insurgency against Dr. Gott. Because to me, that's not, I mean, yes, I want to make sure that's not at play, but having been in a charter school and served in more capacity is more complex than whether the principal is allowed to be there. But I encourage you to dig into the delineation of broad oversight and operations. And my impression as a new parent is that there's a lot of, which is normal from the startup school, to have a lot of kind of hands-on involvement early on. And that we're more mature now, but our policies and procedures and our bylaws don't necessarily reflect that. And that is a messy relationship, and it doesn't even matter why it happened, when it happened, but there is an irreparable breach of trust, and that trust is so important to the culture of our school, and we need to fix it. And so it's not just a statement of support for Dr. Gott, but a clarity that he has the room to lead and that the board has the ability to do what it needs to do best, which is strategic planning and oversight at the high level. And so I really encourage you to probe that. And as an example of the kind of, yes, the board chair doesn't make individual decisions. I think that's important that you all do have that collective responsibility. But the board chair does set agendas. They tend to have a lot of dialogue with the administrators, because that's just the nature of how it works. And Stacy's devoted her a lot of time to this, and it's a thankless job. And there's a lot of elements that are commendable in what she's given, but the chair does have a lot of influence. And I would just give us one example of the kind of concerns that start to come up are things like tonight's meeting. Why was the date changed? Because as a parent of a band student, it was on my calendar for months that it was going to be the 19th. It was on a different day. And then it seriously got moved, and it was a big headache because our whole family calendar had planned that this was an assigned, graded assignment. And interestingly, we also knew that the finance chair is not here or available, and your agenda is taking up a significant budget issue that could be giving money to support our teachers, which is apparent, super important. And I'm not necessarily saying that was like a nefarious intent, but it certainly doesn't look good. And I encourage you to hold the elections, change your leadership, restore the trust, but get more involved in sort of those detailed decisions that need more transparency and raise concerns and kind of give this spirit of polarization that we need to implement.